Welcome, everyone. Today, you join myself, Welly, and my colleague, Kevan. And today, we are going to be discussing a very common scenario being a property that's been on the market for at least a couple of months. What can you, as an estate agent, do to affect that property going under offer? Kevan, would you like to begin?
Okay. So, situation, you've got a property on the market. It's comparing well, maybe, with some of the other properties that are surrounding area. So, you've got to question what actually affects a buyer's decision in purchasing a property. So, it's going to be factors are going to be location, maybe the size of the property, and then obviously the price. These are going to be possibly the agent's marketing. You'd look at that as well. So, in the situation that I would have sort of faced recently, or we discussed earlier, a typical example of a vendor that's got a property on the market, been on for a couple of months, started off at a price. In this case, I think it was around 475. Price subsequently dropped to 450,000, brought it down to a figure which may be a bit more in line with other properties. Now, the thing is, in this current market, everything's price driven. So when I look at the property and I go to compare values, I'm looking at what the shape property is in, what's it been looked after like, where it is, what the road's like, what's being sold around you, but probably more important, what's still on the market, because your property is going to be compared against your surrounding neighbours. So if people see yours up against another one, the other one's cheaper or in a better location, that might drive them to that one, first of all. And also, people go by, oh, well, that one was sold a few doors up from me. But if it was 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, market's moved on. It's not relevant. The price has got to be current. If the property was sold 2 weeks ago, I would believe that more. So, what would you suggest? What would you do in that scenario? So, obviously, the owner wants to get as much as possible. So, you don't want to drive the price down too low. I'd look at my marketing. I'd look and see, have I given the correct description? Have I tried to attract the right people to it? You see so many agents that are very proud to offer this 3-bedroom terraced house in a lovely area, 2 reception rooms, kitchen, garden, whatever. That to me is not an attractive opener. It's got to be something. What is that house going to do for the buyer? When you live in this house, you are going to find yourself living in a property that's going to give you space for working from home. The kids are going to have space to play in the garden. You can walk 10 minutes to get to the nearest station, and the bonus of a garage at the back as well, which you can use as a gym. Would this be suitable for your lifestyle? So you're trying to put people into that. So if you haven't got the right description, change that. Then I would look at the photos. Do the photos give a fair indication of the property flow? Are they has the property been looked after? Do you have some of the agents' photos I see where they show a photo of a toilet or their photo of a fireplace. Very nice, but does it really say much about the property? So is that a clear indication of what people to expect? More so with the video. There's many videos that are just put together as like a very glamorous photo shoot and they whiz through it. I like to do a video commentary where you're actually putting people through it and you can suggest when we're in the lounge here, this lounge backs onto the kitchen. Now, what you could do is take the wall away from that kitchen and make an open plan kitchen diner and use the other room as your reception room. You're putting ideas into people's heads. So when they see the floor plan, they could think, yeah, that's what I could do. So you've got to give them ideas. Then the last thing that you'd really want to look at, well, apart from doing another social media campaign, I would say to you, you've obviously done your video, you've gone on the social media. I would align this with maybe looking at the price. So the owner is on at 450, doesn't want to drop from that. What I would turn around and say, you got to use maybe an auction principle, which is I would suggest a guide price now. I would come down to the next price banding, which in this case would be 425,000. Now the owner's going to put up a resistance. So I don't want to take 425. I say, fine. You're using it to attract people through the door. You want footfall. You want people to get inside and look at your beautiful home. Once they've seen it, there's an emotional attachment that may create the offers that will come in. Think of the 425 as a market price, and the 450 that you really want is maybe your reserve price. So what we're looking at is to get people in to get offers on the table. And if the offers come in and they're too low, you simply say no. But if somebody makes an offer, it shows intent. It shows some kind of we like this house, we really want to live here, but we're now going to have to haggle over the price. So it would be our job to see if we can get those people to come up on their offer. So they might offer, for argument's sake, 435. We then go back and say no. We might come down to 445. Would they meet in the middle? Then you put it to the sellers to say, listen, you've got this figure on the table. Does this figure help you move on with your life in what you want to do next? You can sit there for weeks on end, even months, and you might miss the market again if you don't take that. But at least you've driven people to the property. You've now created an interest. People have got inside the door. And if your house is worth it and they love what they see, now it's our job to build up that desire, build up that want, and then get the offer out of them. So those are the things that I would suggest are open to vendors without just a straightforward price drop or sit there and do nothing.
Can you, I mean, you've mentioned three prices there, 475, 450, 425. Those prices that you mentioned are clearly deliberate. Can you explain the benefits to homeowners aligning the marketing price, because it is a marketing price, not the asking price, aligning the marketing price with the portal minimum and maximum price bandings?
Yeah. So, okay. So this one started on the market at 475. So if the price banding's dropped by 25,000 intervals, you're up at 475. You're seeing people that might look up to 475. Um, Doing a guide price in this instance, if 475 in the first place was too high and you want to drop it to 450, if that's not working, then you want to get it out to more eyeballs. And there's a people that would see it would be people looking up to 4250, people that are looking from 450. So there'll be two different kinds of buyers. And buyers, if they truly want something, miraculously find extra money. It might be bank of mum and dad. It might be that they're not going to declare how much money they've got. And it might be that they've got a reserve fund that they turn around and say, if I can find the right property, I will go a bit higher. Naturally, and I would do the same, I would try and buy something as cheap as I possibly can. But you've got to pay market value. And the market value really is what buyers are prepared to pay. Somewhere between what they're prepared to pay and what a vendor wants is where you'll sell it at. And if that is the only offer you're going to get, then that's what the market is telling you it's worth at that time. The other thing to consider, though, is the market affects everybody. So if you're a seller and you're buying on in a different location, guess what?
It's all
The market
relative.
is going to be saying that end as well. But by you creating desire and getting somebody interested and you get an offer on the table, that gives you an opportunity then to go and find what you want and then maybe negotiate the offer down there. So you might lose a little bit this side, but you might gain a bit on the one you're buying. So at the end of the day, it's all about making the figures work that can get you moving rather than you sit there for another 6 months.
So, I mean, to estate agents, that sounds like a sensible strategy. To us as estate agents, that is creating competition and pricing competitively. But to a lot of homeowners, that will sound like selling cheaply. So, can you also explain, Kevin, as to the importance and how much of an importance price plays in securing an offer, and pricing competitively doesn't always mean pricing too low.
When you're selling your property, it's probably your biggest asset. And naturally, you want to get as much as you possibly can for it. But in the housing market, we're driven by a lot of factors. Buyers' demands, interest rates, global economy, global events, etc. So what we're in at the moment is going to have a lot of factors on people's values and what their affordability is and their budgets. When you're talking about pricing it to be competitive, you basically want to get people through the door so you can actually get offers on the table. Once you've got the offers on the table, whether you take it, whether that helps you move, that is your decision. But what it will do, will give you a barometer as to what the market is thinking at that time.
Correct.
And I would honestly turn around to people and say, look, if that is the figure you're going to get, but you can't do anything, it doesn't enable you to move, then wait, hold off, take it off the market. But what we'll bring to you is we'll bring you interest and activity and offers at a certain level, which is where the market says it is. No one's going to pay. What they're going to do, they're going to look at your property at the price it's at, and they're going to literally say to me, I'm not looking just purely for that house in that road. I'm looking in an area, and it might be that the surrounding areas, it's not comparing apples and apples, it might
Yeah.
be apples and oranges.
Yeah.
So it might be a little bit unfair for you. But they might turn around and say to me, look, I can buy this three-bedroom house in this location for 425,000. And it might come back that that area, sorry, is not quite as good as this one. But the buyers will make a compromise. They'll say, right, we really like that area, but we can go to this location 10 minutes away and find a bigger house, different, better house at the same money. So there's many factors that come into it when people are buying a property. And it's not that they're going to come around to you and give you what you want just because you want it.
Yeah. It
It's like, I want a
doesn't work
Ferrari,
that
but
way.
I want a Ferrari, but I know I can't afford a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Maybe. Um,
One day.
One day, yeah, my other car's a Ferrari. So what you've got to do is you've got to be realistic. When you're selling a property, you've got to take into account these factors. It's a question of how long you're prepared to wait for a price. Is your price realistic to attract people through the door? Um, have you done everything to the house that you can possibly do to show it off at its best? Um, it is an emotional sale, so you might find if you've got jobs that still need to be done on the property and people come round, they're pricing up as they walk round your house. Right, I need to do that crack. I need to repair that door. I need to paint that wall. So consequently, if you take that all away from people and they can walk in and go, wow, this is
Hmm.
amazing, the
Hmm.
emotional factor then takes over. What it might be truly worth is more to them than what you're actually marketing it for. So that's where the guide price works. So they come in, they see the property, they look at it and think, oh my God, this is better than we thought it was. And if we want to get it, we know we've got to pay the right price for it. So yeah, definitely speaking, the price is the main factor, but then you've got to consider what does the house look like? What's the marketing look like? What do the photos look like? And, lots of things will have an effect. Curb appeal. You know, is your house does it look great from the front or does it look tired, bit dreary? When they walk in that front, the hallway, is it inviting? I know these are all like, oh, you heard it all before,
No,
but there's so many obvious things
yeah.
that people normally make their mind up when they walk in the house in the first 10, 20 seconds. It feels right, it doesn't feel right.
As the saying
But
goes, you only get one chance to make a good first impression.
yeah, I mean, the marketing side of it is something we do day in and day out, and
Yeah.
we can affect many things to sort of go to make up the price of a property. But once you're actually out there live and buyers are comparing your home with something around the corner, yours has got to stand up on its own 2 feet. If you've priced it that little bit higher, it's going to stick around, which is why you see properties sitting on the property portals maybe 2, 3 months at a time. But the natural thing for a buyer is looking at it thinking, what's wrong with that one?
Yeah. So let's talk about that if you don't mind, Kevin. So we we see it every day. We see properties that are on the market, sat at a high price. And I think there's a fair number of homeowners that believe that someone, by some miracle, is just going to offer them what they want. And as we both know, it doesn't work that way. Just because you want a particular number doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. Um, can you explain also the benefits? Let's say you have come on the market and it turns out that you've probably priced too high. Can you explain the benefits of realigning the price or reducing the price, but doing it decisively and doing it quickly rather than allowing it to linger and allowing it to grow stale?
Okay. So when you go and see a property, an agent has got decisions to make. Do they drive the price or do they get driven by the vendor? So there'll be people that will go around and say, look, this is the evidence. This is the figures that we should go with. The owner looks at it and says, yeah, but I want a bit more. Can we try this price? And the agent is then faced with a situation. Do I keep on what I believe or do I take a chance and not get in the property because they
Yeah,
want a bit more?
yeah.
So do they give in and say, yeah, okay, then we'll go at 50 grand higher. Let's try it. Let's try it. But from my point of view, I don't go on the market to try because you've got to go out there to get the response. The best response you're going to get is the first 3 to 4 weeks it's on the market. It's fresh, it's new, they haven't seen it before. Okay, so you're going to get people that are on the market and it will come to their alerts and it's like a new one. Wow, new property hit the market. If it's in the right location, let's book in and see it. But if you've misjudged the price because you want to try to see how it goes, we're not in a hurry, we're not in a rush. That's not the way to market a property. You've got to market it to get almost instant activity. Because, as I said, if you sit there for too long,
Yeah.
it loses impact.
Yeah.
It just becomes one of a number of so many properties that are sitting there. All right. Because when a property comes on the market, it goes out as an alert. So anyone looking in that price range, it will come up in their email alerts, new property on the market.
Hmm.
That's when you get the impact. Longer than 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it starts to sit there and people then will think, why has that been around? Normally they go pretty quick if they're decent. Why is
Yeah.
that sitting there? Got 2 months. Oh, it's still on the market. What's wrong with it now? So you've got to be making that initial, you've got to have confidence in the fact that the right price will come out. I always say that if I've got the price wrong and I've gone under by 50 grand, you're going to have a queue round the corner up the street of people wanting to come in and buy it.
Absolutely.
In which case, then the price will get driven up anyway.
Correct. It will find its natural place.
It'll find its natural level because oh my God, that's so cheap. Let's go in there, have a look at it. Yeah, we'll offer this and we'll offer that, and it drives the price up. I would say 99 times out of 100, I get it right. So I get it right all the time. There are properties that you come in and you sort of hold yourself to a figure and you think, right, that should go at that price, and it doesn't. It sticks for whatever reason. But I would say majority of the time, you're going to price it up, which will be a figure that is going to scream out, come and see me. Because the marketing is right, the video is right, the photos look good, and you've sat the price in the right area where others are being sold, not
Yeah.
where they are sitting there still for sale.
Totally right. Well, what's that saying? Um, Price it high, watch it die. Price it low, watch it go.
Okay, yeah, but look, it's not a case of just price it low to get a sale, get our commission, because that's what people perceive we do. You're setting the figure out, a figure. You've got, well, when you put a property in the market, you're sitting there with the sellers and you're looking at what's motivating them to sell. Do they need to sell quickly? Can they afford to wait? Um, is there a mortgage to pay off? Do they
Yeah.
need the funds to buy somewhere else?
Yeah.
So you're looking
It's
at
not
the
a one size
affordability.
fits all.
No,
It's
no,
not a
you're
one
looking
size
at
fits all approach.
different scenarios all the time. So you're looking at their
Correct.
affordability levels to say, right, this is what you're trying to achieve in order to get to location X. So what are the prices like there? And it's almost like you have to have these conversations to build in some degree of flexibility to say that you can hold out for your figure, which may not be the right figure, and then you miss the market on what you're looking for. because there might be the opportunity of that dream home that you really want that all of a sudden comes on the market slightly below where your expectations are on pricing. But because you've driven your price too high, you ain't going to sell yours and you've missed that one that you really wanted.
Yeah.
So you've got to be pragmatic, you've got to be realistic, and you've got to have a belief in trust, especially if an agent is able to show you evidence, just show you that the other properties around the area that are selling are not selling, and also give you an idea what buyers' demands are at that time, what they're prepared to pay for a house or a property in the location you're selling, and what happens afterwards. And also, you've got to bear in mind where the market is. Will the property be priced too high that even if you do find a buyer, will it be downvalued by the lender? Then you've got a whole raft of next problems. So, there's one point about going on the market, not being greedy, but trying to be excessive, to be clever. And then you might, as you say, find that one particular buyer who comes along, but the lenders aren't silly. The lenders are looking at, offering money to this guy and using your property security. They don't want to be left holding the baby as such.
No,
They want to make sure that they've got security. And if anything changes in the market and the prices drop, what's our risk? So
correct.
they'll look at it and say, well, hang on a minute. They might want it's an excellent house, but anything around the area is 25 grand less. And that's what we're going to value at. Then all of a sudden you get a down valuation. Buyer can't afford to do it. So then do you then renegotiate the price, or do you say no and lose the buyer and then have to start again?
Yeah.
And it might be you're already committed on a property. Do you then lose that property? So I would say, look, be realistic at the beginning. Get a figure on the table. Get someone offering on your house. Know what figure you've got. That gives you the affordability. It gives you the budget. Now you know what you can afford realistically. Now you go for it. And look, if it doesn't, you might have to be flexible in what you're looking for as well.
So let's create a scenario. So the comparables tell us a property is worth somewhere in the region of around about 450. I guess the conventional thinking is maybe to price it at 475 and believing that people will always lowball you.
Now you're
And
sounding like a seller now.
exactly this is why I'm coming up with this
People
scenario.
are going to make an offer, but will they look at it in the first place?
And this is a point that I want you to speak about. So the conventional seller will say, let's price it at 475. Some will even say slightly higher because that they believe that's the quickest way of them attaining the true value of around 450. Or would you suggest pricing it competitively, as you put earlier, and instead of pricing it at 450, potentially pricing it at 425, maybe even 400? What would you do? What would you do in that
Okay.
scenario?
That goes back to, so if I think the property is worth 450,000,
Thereabouts.
okay, and comparisons are telling you it's worth that figure, why put it on for a much higher figure, which is then going to show, well, hang on a minute, it's not worth it. So why do that? I wouldn't necessarily go down below that high, that much, 425, because if it's worth 450, it will go. So I might go back to what I do as a guide price range. I'd say we put it on as a guide price at 450 to 475. So you're taking into account people looking up to 450 or people starting their search from 475. So two groups of people will look at it. And what you're actually basically saying to people is, I'm getting the calls in at 450. Then it's down to the agent say on the phone, the vendors are really looking for a figure towards the upper end, but go in and see it. And then if you get an offer on the table at 450, you've achieved the price that the owner's looking for.
Hmm.
If you get 455, it's a bonus. It's all about, it's educating the seller though. They've got to understand that when they see the figures there, that's not going to mean they're going to get that price. You've got to say to them, this is a marketing tool. This is a marketing ploy. This is you want us to get buyers into the property, make offers because we're good at marketing. We're marketers.
Yes, we're marketeers first and
We've got to
foremost.
use our marketing skills, what is out there, in order to attract the right people to your property and get an offer on the table. And if we're telling you that the house is worth 450, don't try and hold out for the 475. That's it. You've got your figure. We've done our job.
Yeah, totally agree. I think as estate agents, we're there to create the market. We're there to discuss pricing strategies. And if we land on the right pricing strategy, we will attract the right buyer. And if we attract the right buyer, we will attract the best possible price.
Look, I put a house on the market. Where are we now? Friday, last Thursday night, Friday morning. Locally to me, it's a four-bedroom terraced house. We put it on the market. We were looking at 650, and we put it on the market at guide price 650 to 675,000. It's in a popular location, so I knew it would get interest. We booked up on the Saturday, 9 people to view it. 10 people came
Brilliant.
up, in fact.
Brilliant.
And what happened? We got two offers
Hmm.
of 650. I got a third offer of 656, and then we eventually agreed a price at 660.
There you go.
So
Now, what
what
would have
is
happened, just if you don't mind me saying, what would have happened if you went in, if you priced that at 700? Do you think you would have got 660? And do you think you would have got 660 that quick?
I wouldn't have got the viewers. People would have looked at it because I was already arguing with people that were telling me I can get a similar house for 600, not as good condition, or 625. So 700 would have been too high to get. You might have got one or two,
Hmm.
and then would they have offered? They might have thought in their head it was worth 650, but then they're thinking, would I offer 50 grand below? No, it's just their natural course of speaking would be, it's too much money. Ah, no, it's going to cost me 60, 70 grand to do what I want to do. I'm going to walk away from it. Put it on the market at a figure that's going to attract the interest, get them excited, get them to come in, look at it, see what it's really like. When they walk in, they go, this is big, this is
Yeah.
good, this does what I want. And all the offers coming in around the same region confirms to me the value. And it also substantiates to the vendors what the value was. We were talking originally, we should get 650 for it. Anything above that is a bonus.
Yeah.
They said, well, can we try the guide price? I said, sure, but don't hang your hat on the 675.
Five. Yeah. Yeah.
You get offers in, be realistic, listen to what the market's telling you. And 660, you know, the vendors were happy, the sellers were really happy, it's where they want to be. Now we see where we go with the sales progression.
And what's that saying? To get buyers to pay emotionally, sellers have to price logically.
Yeah, you're a wiser man than me. I've not heard
exhibit
that one.
yeah, exhibit A. Sellers price logically, it gets buyers to pay emotionally, which naturally drives the price up. And as an agent, you have the ability to negotiate up as opposed to keep negotiating down.
Yeah, look, we get lost in the fact sometimes that we're doing a job and it's figures and it's like stress and it's that. And what you forget, it's emotions. People make a buying decision based on an emotional fact of what it's going to do for them and their life. You know, they walk into a property, they look at, oh wow, this is beautiful. It's got the kitchen we want. Oh, the garden's big enough for the kids. The kids will be playing out in the summer. You know, we can walk to the station. How does it affect my lifestyle? They're not going to come in and buy it and say, oh, the price is great. You know, the price has got to have a factor. It's got to get them involved in the property. And then once they see the property, if it ticks all their boxes, that's when you get the demand and then you get the actual increase and the uplift in the price. If
Yeah,
they know they're in competition, that also cements the fact that
it's
we're
price
not
right.
buying, yeah, we're not making a mistake here because there's
Yeah,
other
it's
people that
price.
want it.
There's other
We're
people that
we're
want it.
in we're in competition, so we
Yeah,
know it's the right price range, and we are going to win this battle. So it lifts the price up higher, and the
yeah.
owners say are happy, and the buyers are happy they got it.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody knows that they're the only party at the table, then naturally they're going to offer less than what the property is worth. So again, it's about pricing it competitively, pricing it well, because then that creates the market, that
Yeah.
creates the competition, that creates urgency. You don't have buyers coming to view and saying, do you know what, I'm going to have a look at a couple more. I'll let you know next week. It's like, well, I can't guarantee it's going to be here next week. If you want it, you're going to have to make your offer known now, or risk losing it. So, and naturally, as I said, if you have two or three bidders, as I said, it gives you the opportunity to negotiate up as opposed to continually negotiating down. So it's a great strategy, Kevin.
But there's nothing changed. I've been doing this for a long time, been selling
Yeah,
properties for 38, 39 years. And
yeah,
it's always been buyer A, seller B.
yeah,
And even when I was like pricing properties up at 25 grand all those years ago, people were coming in, they make an offer of 24 grand. It's all relative to what they were earning, what the other prices were. We're talking big difference now. And look, us doing this, there's so many people when you go online and we go on all these social media and we see a lot of people talking about similar things that we're talking about. It's a very individual thing how we handle this. Every estate agent, and there's thousands, will have their own opinion, their own viewpoints, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it because we're all susceptible to the market forces of at any given time. So what we do, we go out and we see a property. We want to get it on the market. That's a natural thing. But if you spend the time explaining the scenarios to the sellers about market conditions, what buyers are prepared to pay, what the rates are doing, and being realistic about it, and do it the right way, and say to the people, we're going to market it at a figure, which is a marketing figure. It's
yeah.
not the
The
value.
it's not
I
the
don't
asking
think
price.
I don't think any agent realistically, really can come round and say,
No,
yep, it's worth that. That is the value of your home.
impossible.
It's not. I go out to put a marketing price in order to attract buyers to the home, to get offers on the table. And then when the sale goes through on the exchange of contracts, yeah, that house is worth that now. That is the value of your home because that's what someone
Yeah.
agreed to pay for it.
That's what someone's prepared to pay for it.
There you
That
go.
old adage. Great, Kevin. This has been absolutely riveting. We need to give this. I don't know if you want to call it a podcast, but we need to give this podcast a title: The Welly and Kevin Show or the Kevin and Welly Show, or just the Kevin Show.
Look at it. No, it's not me. No, listen, at the end of the day, it's just hopefully something there that probably
Yeah,
get one or two people looking at it
yeah,
that might, even if it's just understanding the way that we both work or
yeah.
our standpoint and what we stand for and how we think it should be done. And it
Correct.
might not be the right way, but it's our way of doing it. And if it works for us and our vendors, then hopefully someone else will look at it and think, okay, well, let's give it a try. I'm sure there's thousands of agents that are exactly the same way as us, but I don't think it's always explained. It's always taken for granted, or people might be sort of got their days. I was talking to someone maybe yesterday, one of my network meetings, that when I was doing this, a long time ago, it might have been last time we spoke, in a different agency, I might have had to go and see 8 or 9 properties that day. And I was driven just to go out and get a property on the market. And you might have had a brief explanation, say, look, let's try that price.
Yeah.
The viewpoint is changed now from all those years ago. When you've gone through all the markets, you've gone through all the marketing techniques over the years, and I've seen loads. Things change. We're all now social media savvy, and everyone knows how to navigate through the systems. People know they can check on Rightmove and Zoopla to see what house price is sold for. So you can't pull wool
The
over
walls
people's
over the,
eyes.
yeah, no,
you know,
not
and when
anymore.
people make offers, secondary backup is a lender's valuation.
Yeah,
So it's critical that you get the marketing right to get a marketing figure to get as much interest and then settle on a figure which shows that you've tried the market, you've got enough people around there, you've had enough people making offers, and you've settled on a price which is going to help you move. End of. That to me is how it should be done.
great. Well, absolutely perfect. As I said, absolutely riveting. I hope if you're a homeowner and you have found this discussion of value, please do give this a thumbs up. Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks again for your time. Thanks again for your insights, and look forward.
And yeah, that my insights and my disclaimer is they're not necessarily right for everyone. Um, but it's just how I like to work and like to explain to things to people. And touch wood, it seems to work for my people that I sell for.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Kevin. Really appreciate it and look forward to speaking again soon. Until the next time.
You're welcome. All the best.